Hi everyone, and welcome to the StudioJake vidcast. This is my place where I talk about all things pop culture. Just a reminder, I'm participating in No Shave November. You can keep up with that on my Instagram, Facebook, or Locals. I'll be posting pictures, so head over to those places. Locals is linked in the description. You can also support the channel there, and the other places are linked in my About page. All right, diving right into the topic. I've always said that it was a little suspicious how much online hate guys like me get. Now, what do I mean by guys like me? Guys like me who tend to favor the original way our favorite comic book or movie characters or book characters are presented on film and on television, right? So we don't like gender orientation or race swaps, right? We don't like that. We tend to like the characters as they originally are, and we promote the creation of new characters who are good to represent whatever the creator wants, but we don't want some rando corporate overlord to mold that character, like they did with the first Green Lantern, or they did with a whole plethora of characters. Renee Montoya comes to mind. It's or turning Miss Marvel into a Muslim girl and all this. We want them to create an original character who might be a Muslim and write that character well. We don't want our original characters to be gender, race, and have their orientation swapped. And for years, we've been called haters, bigots, every kind of phobe under the book because of this. Now, the question was, because none of these properties sell well, right? So certain ones do in the beginning because they have the name recognition, but then when the audiences catch on, they start to tumble. They start to fall right off the top seller list, right off the box office, right off of TV ratings or streaming services. But the amount of hate these people get, so like if you don't like how Zack Snyder turned Batman and Superman to two whiny brats who cry about their mommies together, or you don't like how they made Ghost a black woman, or if you don't like this, that, or the other, just the amount of hate you get is just unreal. I mean, the first death threat I ever got was over how much I don't like Zack Snyder and his filmmaking process. Besides also the fact that he's a jerk, but besides that, now it turns out some of us were kind of suspicious that these were actually just maybe one or two people who had multiple accounts that were using spam bots and spam trolls to attack them. And I was suspicious of this, and I would even drop hints of that when I would be debating people on X, formerly known as Twitter. Turns out those of us who had those suspicions probably were right. This is from boundingintocomics.com. John Trent wrote this. It's an article. The title is Report, HBO and Max executives created army of troll accounts to target critics of their movies and television shows, weaponized identity politics. So these rich millionaires, the actors, the studio execs, they were behind this the whole time. So this is what the article says. A new report details that HBO and Max executives Casey Bloys and Kathleen McCaffrey created an army of trolls to target critics of their movies and television shows. This new report comes from Cheyenne Roundtree at Rolling Stone, who claims that Bloys and McCaffrey discussed what they called a secret army to fire back at several TV critics on Twitter, now known as X, as well as anonymous commentators on articles about HBO programming, according to text exchanges reviewed by Rolling Stone. Roundtree detailed that the executives trolled television critics with snarky responses from a fake Twitter account and dropping pro-HBO comments on trade publication stories such as Deadline. Deadline, I've said this for a while. Deadline is a total shill. They kiss the boots of whoever is the flavor of the month. So if the studios are the flavor of the month, they're kissing the boots right away. Same with the SAG strike. So now the actors are in vogue, and Deadline wants to get those exclusive interviews, right? So right now they're licking the boots of these millionaire actors who are pretending that they can't afford their soy mocha lattes again. So anyway, continuing on. According to the Rolling Stone report, the document they reviewed, which included text exchanges between Blois and McCaffrey, are part of a lawsuit by former HBO staffer Sully Tamori that accuses HBO of harassing and retaliating against him after he disclosed a mental health diagnosis. In the lawsuit, Tamori alleges he created fake online accounts to respond to critics. Allegedly, McCaffrey came to Tamori and informed him, Blois always texts me, asking me to find friends to reply. There's a way to create a dummy account that can't be traced to us to do his bidding. That is astounding to me. And so further down the article, interestingly, one of the troll accounts created by Tamori used identity politics to lampoon critics. In response to a criticism of Josh Whedon's The Nevers by the New York Times, James Poniewozik, the troll account created by Tamori, posted, "How shocking that the two middle-aged white men you in hell are bleeping on a show about women." So, I'm not going to read the rest of the article. I want you to go read it for yourself. I told you so. I told you. There was no way that films that were bombing, films that were not doing well, or TV shows where the ratings were low, or streaming service constantly renewing TV shows for no reason, even though no one liked them, such as He-Man, or I should say, Masters of the Universe Revelation. He-Man's not in the title because he's not the main character anymore, right? There was no reason that there would be so many trolls. That's what this was. These were fake accounts run by a bunch of yes men and maybe even yes women at the studios. This just confirms everything. The studios are doubling down, and they were using a bot program, basically a massive fraud, in order to attack fans because they were angry that we weren't accepting their DEI nonsense. So for those of you who don't know what DEI is, it's this basically corporate blackmail. This company called BlackRock developed it in a similar one where they'll grade you based on how much you're promoting perversion on television as well as the environment. It was basically, they said, hey, if you don't do these things or meet this criteria, we're going to give you a poor score, and that's going to affect your stock. Well, it turned out that was a big scam, because that where they messed up was the audience reception of it. And then once that got out, well, now it seems companies are starting to back off on it. But it seems like during the meantime, these trolls were doing it. Now, there were some people who were targeted specifically because they liked a certain person. Like, I'll admit, there were people who liked certain things that were also in the radar, but it was things that Warner Brothers didn't want to promote, that HBO didn't want to promote. And that makes total sense to me. And how do we know that Disney isn't doing this? How do we know that James Gunn, Peter Safran, Kevin Feige, Kathleen Kennedy, all of these names that we know? So Peter Safran and James Gunn, they're the head of DC Films. Guarantee you they're implementing this. I mean, HBO is owned by Warner Brothers Discovery, which I actually heard that the Discovery Channel, how humiliating is that? Your company gets bought by the Discovery Channel after AT&T dislodged you, and now there's rumors that the Discovery Channel is trying to give Warner Brothers the boot. And I have no doubt that people like Kathleen Kennedy as the head of Lucasfilm, of course, which owns Star Wars and Indiana Jones, as well as Kevin Feige, the head of Marvel Studios, I have no doubt that they were implementing these things as well. Now, obviously, don't have proof of that like we do with Warner Brothers right now. But that just goes to show you all this hate that was targeting you because you didn't want to see your favorite character changed. You didn't want to see Tim Drake become, bi. You didn't want to see him be race swapped on a TV show. You wanted to see Tim Drake in all his glory because you grew up in the 90s and that was the Robin you knew, like myself. And you were targeted and harassed and called names. And turns out it all came straight from the top. It was nothing but a corporate stooge. So next time you get hate because you like how an original character was presented in the comic books or in television or in movies from a while ago, and you don't like how the corporate overlords are changing them now, and you get a whole bunch of trolls targeting you because you disagreed, remember, it came from the corporate overlords. It was not a real person. Maybe there were a few in the mix who were just kind of prodded by these trolls, but it was all a master plan to make you look bad and to make you feel guilty for not supporting the current thing. It's despicable. It's disgusting. And these companies ought to apologize to the fans, and they ought to start giving us exactly what we want. Otherwise, we will make our message heard through our wallets. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up, that you'll leave me a comment, tell me what you think, that you'll share it out with your friends, and of course, consider subscribing to StudioJake. I cover all kinds of nerd and pop culture topics, including film, television, anime, comic books, and so much more. I hope that you'll also head over to my main website, StudioJakeMedia.com, where I have even more news, views, and commentary. Also, if you'd like to support the channel, head over to my locals page. That's studiojakemedia.locals.com. It's the best way to support me. I'm trying to build a little community there. I have exclusive reviews and articles, so definitely head over there and check it out. And I'll see you next time, right here on Studio Jake.